I've watched quite a number of debates in your Lordship's House, and it's always struck me that the government invariably rejects all the wonderful advice it gets from its KCs and its former judges. I appreciate it's much harder when they disagree, but I do think perhaps that the government ought to look a little bit more closely at these and perhaps read Hansard and think about changing some of the bill, because these are extremely serious offences and they're meant to be in there to protect national security. But currently they don't need intention to be proven. Now, I would argue that that's incredibly important. A person could unwittingly commit a serious offence, a criminal offence, without having the foggiest clue that they were doing anything wrong. And that isn't to suggest that ignorance is a defence, but unintentional consequences to the UK's interests shouldn't be serious criminal offences. And one example that is extremely important to me is the issue of journalists and whistleblowers exposing government wrongdoing. As the noble Lady Ludford said in the previous group, it is a perfectly legitimate activity and it risks being criminalised by this legislation, because the intention of journalists and whistleblowers is not to harm national security, it's to hold power to account. And that's partly what your lordships are doing in this House. We are trying to hold power to account, and we should take every opportunity to support journalists and whistleblowers who do that. So I'm concerned that they might be trapped by this legislation. And likewise, the offence at Clause 15 risks criminalising people for receiving a benefit from an intelligence service. And those benefits include receiving information. Now, a person could commit a criminal offence simply by a foreign intelligence service telling them some information which they may not want to hear. It could be completely against their will. So overall, these clauses are deeply flawed and need substantially rewriting.